If you've been thinking about making a move to Denver or one of the surrounding suburbs, specifically on the west side of town, like Arvada, Golden, Lakewood, Wheat Ridge, one of those areas, well, stay tuned. Today I'm going to get into the pros and cons of living in Arvada, Colorado. By the way, I am Warren Bunker with the Bunker team at Keller Williams Advantage, and together with my wife Kelsey, we have helped hundreds of people just like you to make this move to or around the Denver metro area. So if you are thinking about making a move, please reach out, call, text, email, it doesn't matter. We are happy to connect with you in whichever way makes the most sense. Okay, so let's talk about what makes Arvada such a cool place. Now, Arvada itself is larger than a lot of the towns on the west side. I don't know, it's kind of west and a little bit northwest, and so it absolutely dwarfs a place like Golden, which is a relatively small area, probably competitive in size to a Lakewood or Littleton or something, and not really huge compared to what a lot of major metro areas have in their suburbs. Let's talk about the pros and cons of Arvada. Number one, family-friendly established areas, established neighborhoods, I should say. So Arvada's been around for a while. It was originally founded around the same time as Golden was, early 1900s, maybe even late 1800s in some of the areas. Didn't exactly blow up from that spot, but we've got a lot of neighborhoods that as time goes on and you have these kind of booms where there's lots of building and lots of growth happening, you see these kind of rings around the city where that is, a popular place to be. And so Arvada has a lot of neighborhoods that were built up in, mid-century, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, as well as a lot of newer areas. One of the cooler things that I've found with Arvada is that because it's larger and kind of expands up north a little bit, you do have room for new builds and more newer suburbs, you say, and some traditional, again, well-established, lots of great big trees and established mature landscaping and parks and things like that, so you're not waiting on that to grow in. So Arvada has kind of both lots to offer in the way of different neighborhoods that you might be interested in moving to. Number two is Old Town Arvada. Old Town Arvada is one of the coolest places around town. It gets you this fun downtown feel where you can walk around, you can check out a lot of the shops, local artisans have, their goods. There's like cool niche restaurants where there's lots of really good food, breweries. That's a big thing in Colorado. If you're not from here, we have lots of breweries. It's kind of a thing. There's more microbreweries in Denver than I think almost any other city around. I might have to fact check that one, but I know it's a lot. Old Town Arvada has a lot to offer in the way of just being able to get out and park and walk around without being a huge downtown thing. Obviously, we're in Denver, so there is downtown Denver, and you could go down there and do lots of things, but that is a big night out usually. Old Town is more laid back, pretty easy to find parking. They've got good parking structures nearby, but it is that older, established, like old school kind of downtown feeling area where everyone's just walking around and chatting, and they have these festivals. And I remember when we were doing some filming, I walked in on the 100-year Harvest Festival for Arvada. I had no idea. I was pretty caught off guard. Knew it was sometime around the fall, but there were just tents everywhere, and there were people that were selling things, giving things away, just talking about local events. There's live music, all of that fun stuff. Old Town Arvada is fantastic. Pro number three, Arvada is way more affordable than like Golden or Boulder. So again, we're on the west side, and as I've talked about before, real estate on the west side of Denver tends to get more expensive. Land is more expensive. The county takes longer to approve permits, and a lot of that is because of the access. And so many people are here for their hiking, biking, those outdoor activities, or they go up to the mountains for camping, skiing, just a day around looking at some of the views. I mean, that's what so many people are here to do. And when we're on the west side, we are closer. Now, Golden, we've talked about before, is a very expensive suburb of Denver. Boulder's a little bit separate. It's not really considered a suburb of Denver anymore. I think at some point people have kind of thought of it that way, but it really is far enough removed and well established enough on its own that nobody I know really thinks of Boulder truly as a suburb of Denver. But it's not far away, if we're being perfectly honest, from Golden, Arvada, and then kind of Boulder a little bit up north. But those are very expensive. Arvada is much more affordable. It is much easier to find places to live in Arvada and be close to Golden or Boulder or Evergreen, getting into the mountains, whatever it is that you're looking to do. Arvada has got way more affordable options for you. And then number 4, it is much easier access than some of our other western suburbs are to things like downtown Denver. Light rail is actually very prominent throughout Arvada as well. So you can get on light rail, you can take that to downtown areas if you're going to go see a Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche game, maybe even the Rockies, depending on who's here. Or if you work in downtown Denver, Denver Tech Center, one of those areas, getting on a light rail in a lot of places in Arvada is really easy. Also, the commute, you're very close to highways, 76, 70, I-25, lots of options for easy commute from Arvada to just about anywhere around the city. Okay, now let's talk about cons of Arvada. And the first is something that has been gnawing at me for about the last year, and that is Wadsworth Boulevard. Wadsworth is a street that runs through most of the west side of Denver, and I say Denver, I really mean the western suburbs, including Wadsworth, and it has been under construction for almost the past year, and that street sucks. It is always busy, it is always crowded, there's always traffic. It is not fun. Now, maybe by the time you're watching this, all that construction is done, and you're like, Warren, what are you even talking about? That place is fine. Okay, maybe, but right now, as of today, filming, the congestion around Wadsworth is awful. Avoid it at all costs. Con number 2 in Arvada is that the quality of schools, now this is very subjective, so we're going off what we see on things like niche.com and greaterschools.org and stuff like that, but it can really swing pretty heavily by neighborhood. So some schools have, 7 or 8, really grades on these websites, whereas others fall off quite a bit. And it's not a ton of rhyme or reason when you look at like neighborhoods and demographics and like who's going where, but it does create for a lot of parents out there or people who are thinking about how the quality of school affects your resale value. It really impacts how you start to think about neighborhoods. And it's interesting because that shifts so much that realistically, it's more of a frustration than it is a fact-based thing, because as test scores roll in and things like that change, you'll see some of these lower schools will go up, and some of the higher schools, maybe they'll stay up, maybe not. It's hard to say, but it can be really tricky thinking I'm not necessarily in the best school just because I'm in Arvada. I still have other places that I need to look and verify that I'm in a good place. So you'll have to double check if the school that is your home school is important to you, because you can choice in. That is something that is available here in the Denver metro area, school of choice. So you do have the opportunity to choice in, however, it's not guaranteed. So if you're looking to move to Arvada and which school you and your kids go to is important to you, we really have to make sure that we check on that when we're looking at houses. Okay, and con number 3 for Arvada, Colorado is not much of a con. It's kind of expected. Your outdoor scenery is just not quite as majestic as you might see in Golden or Boulder, and it's kind of obvious. Like I said, when we're looking at the house prices in Golden and in Boulder, we're seeing that you're paying to be that close to things, to have that kind of a scenery. So are there spots in Arvada that have great views and are really nestled into some beautiful scenery? Absolutely. It's just maybe not quite as common as what you see when we're looking at like Golden, Boulder, things like that. Okay, so that's it for Arvada, Colorado. Let me know in the comments what you think about a suburb like this. Is this a place that you would want to live? Price-wise, we do have other videos that show like what you can afford and how that works for areas like Arvada, but it's much more affordable than a lot of the other suburbs, especially on the west side of town. Really a great spot. I think there's a lot to love about Arvada as a whole, and it's big enough that you can really make it what you want. I've toured townhomes and condos in Arvada that were really close to Old Town, that were not that expensive, get you good, easy access to a really cool place like that. There's also like an Alamo Draft House that's in the area. Lots of things like that, more strip mall style shopping centers and things. And again, you're very close to a lot of other stuff. So if Arvada doesn't have everything that you're looking for, but you like its proximity maybe to some of the other stuff, it's a pretty good landing spot. And remember, whether you're looking to move across town or across country in 2 days or 200 days, the Bunker team is here to help. If you're new to the channel and you are interested in learning more about what it's like to live in and around the Denver metro area, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button for more content just like this.